The country of Ireland is incredibly old. As a matter of fact, 60% of Europe's megalithic structures are found in Ireland, and sites like Newgrange that date back to 5,000 years ago are older than the pyramids, believe it or not. We know scientifically that the first people who entered into Britain and Ireland were the Western hunter-gatherers. And over here, I've got a reconstruction of Cheddar Man, an 8,000-year-old Western hunter-gatherer man that was found in Somerset, UK. And as we can see from his features, he had dark skin. But not only that, we also had the migration of the early European farmers. And over here, I've got a reconstruction of Ballynatty woman, an early European farmer woman from 5,000 years ago that was discovered in Northern Ireland. When we look at the Irish genome through a Bronze Age perspective, we can actually see that around 14% of the Irish genome is Western hunter-gatherer related. Around 40% of their DNA is early European farmer derived. But over here, what do we have over here? We can see that close to 47 to 48% of their DNA is Western steppe Indo-European related. Who were the Indo-Europeans? For those that don't know, the Indo-Europeans were a culture that originated in the Pontic-Caspian steppe of modern-day Russia and Ukraine. Around 5,000 years ago, these Indo-Europeans migrate all across Europe and outcompete the European farmers. And by doing so, in Central Europe, they form a culture known as the Bell Beaker culture. I've actually got a reconstruction of a Bell Beaker man that was found in Ireland. This is Rathlin I. He was found in Northern Ireland. Now, during the Iron Age, this is where we start to see the formation of the Celtic identity that's so true to the Irish core. Over here, I've got an Iron Age breakdown of the Irish genome, and as we can see, the vast majority, if not the entirety of their DNA is Celtic related. And as a matter of fact, the Irish, out of all groups in the region, have some of the highest components of Celtic related ancestry. For those that don't know, the Celts originate somewhere in Central Europe near Austria, and they are the descendants of a culture known as the Hallstatt culture. During the Iron Age, they start to migrate all across Europe, and they eventually make their way into Britain and Ireland. Now, what's unique about the Irish people is that they form their own separate branch on the insular Celtic linguistic family. They form the Goidelic branch. And there's actually another linguistic theory that links the Celtic languages spoken in Ireland and Scotland to the languages that were once spoken in Iberia. This is a kind of controversial theory, but it links Iberia to Ireland. And according to a lot of Irish law, their ancestors seemingly originated from Iberia. The father of the Gaels or the Milesians may have come from Iberia, according to the Book of Invasions. Now, we just talked about the Irish genome through a variety of different time periods. We discussed it through the Bronze Age, through the Iron Age. There is one last migratory event that really shaped the Irish identity. And of course, I'm talking about the Germanic invasions. This is an Irish DNA breakdown during the migratory period, which is the period when the Roman Empire starts to collapse. When the Roman Empire collapses, we start to see the migration of a variety of Germanic people becoming dispersed all across Europe. And in the case of the Irish, they left a genetic legacy as well. As we can see, the Germanic component varies anywhere between 20 to 30%. And this is because of the migration of the variety of Germanic people, including the Anglo-Saxons, you had the Vikings, and the Normans as well, who left somewhat of a genetic legacy amongst the Irish. Some really other interesting things about the Irish genome is that they have a high prevalence of hemochromatosis, which is an excessive amount of iron in one's blood. And they also have high prevalences of red hair and green eyes. So yes, as I mentioned, the Irish people have an incredibly rich history. It's oftentimes overlooked by contemporary historians. We don't really appreciate Irish history as much as we should. And I think it's a very underrated region when it comes down to migratory history as well as genetics.